welcome to today's live. Have you ever heard the question, the statement of saying that your fear and anxiety will travel down the lead to your dog? Well, a lot of people as a consequence believe that their anxiety is affecting their dog and vice versa. I mean, the vice versa part kind of stands for itself. Does it mean that your anxiety is making your dog's anxiety worse? It's a very easy conclusion to come to. You know, especially if you are a parent of a reactive dog, if you're walking outside and all of a sudden you become very tense and you're on high alert and you're being hyper vigilant for a dog that's coming around the corner or something of that ilk, then it can become like this vicious circle, or you can certainly feel like it's becoming a vicious circle. But today I want to go into whether it is actually the case and whether that is something that you can experience and will experience when you are out, especially with a reactive dog. I do want to answer a question first, which is, did I make my dog anxious with my own anxiety? And I really want you to know that the answer to that is no. Okay, your dog is not ever going to learn, or at least I've never seen it, and I cannot envisage a situation where your anxiety will impact your dog, okay, and that you will make your dog anxious. That should never really happen. So please don't think that you've done this to your reactive dog, because you almost certainly have not. And if you did, you probably didn't know you were doing it at the time, and these things are really, really, we can't blame ourselves for things that we had no control over or didn't have better knowledge of. So then it becomes, do I make my dog anxious when I'm walking? That's the next big question. And the answer is yes, you can. Okay, you absolutely can make your dog anxious on a walk. However, there's always a but, isn't there? There's always a but. However, the likelihood is that whilst you can make your dog anxious or put your dog into a state of anxiety on a walk, it's likely that it's certain that you were not originally the reason that your dog became anxious on their walk. So what I mean by this is that just because you were wandering around, let's say a scenario. Let's say you have a perfectly adjusted dog. They don't exist, but let's say on this hypothetical instance that hypothetical Fido is perfectly normal. If you have a perfectly well-adjusted dog and you go out and you having anxiety, and I know this because I have, you can go out and that dog will never, almost certainly not, develop reactivity because of your anxiety, or develop anxious conditions because of your anxiety. So, what does that then lead us to believe? It leads us to believe that if you do have a dog with an anxious disposition, that your dog, who is learning every moment of every day, is going out and they are finding that when you act in a certain way, you predict the next step of their fear coming towards them. So, if, for example, you tighten up the lead every time you see a dog, and your dog is a reactive dog, and they have already made the association that a dog appearing equals bad things happen. Sorry if I bumped the mic there. If they've already made that association, and then they make the association further that mum or dad tightens up the lead just before a dog appears, dogs have a very consequential learning pattern. So they will learn bad things are going to happen when mum tightens up the lead, which is where the old adage of it travels down the lead comes from. However, obviously you don't need a lead for that to become a consequential pattern. It can become a consequential pattern for anything. For example, I had a client once who was in the habit of saying a certain word before a dog appeared, or before their dog had noticed the other dog. And they were like, oh, I can't remember the name of the game now, but like the look and see game. So like when you point a trigger out to your dog. They said that doesn't work for my dog. It's like, well, okay, explain it. And they explained it, and it actually became a thing that the dog was realising that that word meant that a bad thing was coming, aka the dog that they were scared of, and consequently they associated the game that was meant to help them get through reactivity with worsening their reaction. Dogs learn sequentially. Dogs learn in a very ABC pattern, and that means that the whole time that you're out with your dog, you have to be aware of what's going on. Okay? And I mean, we all know that, but just a reminder, your anxiety, if you are feeling in a particular way, will translate to your dog if you give them the opportunity to learn that happens time after time. Same way that they learn that, good means rewards coming, or that their name is a positive thing, or that a crate is a place that they can go and relax. They make associations, and if you let that association happen, it will take effect, and that then is a very hard thing to undo because it's our habits. Our habits are very hard to break because we're human, and that is one of our our biggest fault, right? So, what can you do about this? Firstly, you can create routine. Routine very much helps, I find, because if you know that when you walk around your local park at 7 a.m, that you meet the black Newfoundland, you meet that golden retriever, you meet the mini poodle, you meet the cockapoo, and they're the dogs that you're going to go past, and you know that they walk in a certain way because we humans do tend to. That then can allow you as the human to predict what's going to happen. It can give you the most control over your anxiety in order to not allow that to affect your dog. See where I'm going with this? It's about controlling us before we can control the dog or your dog, because they're very sensitive beings, bless them, and we want to make sure that they're learning as best they can, and this is one of the ways that I certainly promote doing so. That element of routine mitigates the unknown is kind of the thing, and if you can mitigate that unknown factor, then you can hopefully relax in yourself a little bit, because goodness only knows it's not a very easy thing, is it, to relax when you've already gone into that state of mind. And imagine if that's what it's like for us, imagine what it's like for them. It's not easy, is it? Then I want to make sure that you focus on downtime. Downtime is it's an imperative, essentially. You for yourself and for your dog. Do not feel like, especially if you're anxious and if your dog is anxious, do not feel like you have to go for a walk every day. Do not feel like you need to be entertaining them the whole time. Make sure that you are structuring in time to take a break, because even if that means that, pup goes to daycare for a day, even if it means that you pay a dog walker to come in and walk them for an hour and just give you some downtime and step away from whatever it is that's causing you the stress, which might be your dog. These things happen, and these things are worthwhile, okay? So having a little mental break for yourself is really important too, as well as for your dog. So then it's important that, or I found it really useful to have relaxation exercises, or like things where I would get my brain out of its little compulsive, anxious circle craziness, because certainly when I was going through the worst of Indy's reactivity, I used to beat myself up mentally, and I would basically go into this wicked downward spiral of, oh god, I'm the worst dog parent in the world. How on earth can I have a 40-kilo dog who is this big and acts this way? It's totally not socially acceptable. And can you tell that this is all stuff that was really ingrained in there? Yeah, this is all stuff that I went through once, twice a day, and I would punish myself for it. And it's really important in those moments that you can recognise that you're in that cycle. And I mean, please don't get me wrong, I'm not a psychologist, but I know what I went through. That you can recognise that you're in that cycle and find a way to break it. Because if you can find that way to break it, then you can pull yourself out of it effectively. Okay? And that little pull out, of that little crazy anxious moment is really important. And some of the ways that my therapist taught me to do this years ago was to name everything that I could think of in my head that was blue. Sounds really stupid, but it works. Another exercise that I've done since is, and it sounds a little silly, but it is true, and this is what I do. I have like a mental space. It's just a room, essentially, that I essentially craft the outside of the rooms, the floor, and I will think about what's going on, and then mentally I will literally like grab a mental broom. It's literally just a picture of a broom in my head. It's an old-fashioned one with the straw, if you want to get really detailed, and I will literally sweep away every thought that's going through my head, and it gets swept away and it's gone. And it sounds really stupid, but it works for me. Okay, so sometimes these things are very personal, and sometimes these things are essentially just a thing that's going to get you through it, and it's going to sound crazy to other people like it just did when I shared mine. But find yourself a little something that can pull you out of that cycle, because that mental cycle just, it's not good, is it? And I think we've all been there when we're like spiraling into chaos. And the last one, this is really, really important, is that you need to allow yourself to make mistakes, because you are human, just like me, and you are going to make mistakes, and that is a normal and realistic part of life, let alone training your dog, okay? And your dog is not going to regress to the point of being totally inconsolable or unfixable because you've made a mistake, okay? Please hear that. So I'll say it again. Your dog is not going to become irreparable because you have made a mistake. All right? There is always a way to get through things. There is always a way to go forwards. And sometimes that way to go forward might be involving someone like me. Okay? And this is not an advert. It's not a way for me to sell to you, because it's not why I'm here. I want to help you guys. But you do need to know that 1 mistake, 2 mistakes, 3 mistakes aren't going to break your dog. Okay? There's always a way through. It's just about finding it. And if you can't afford someone like me, if you can't afford another trainer, I don't know, then there are resources on the internet, and my blog is literally full of them, because I've been in your shoes. I got made redundant just as Indy developed his reactivity, and goodness only knows there was not a penny in my bank account. I could barely afford to feed the pair of us, let alone train him. And it took me a whole bunch of studying for me to get where I needed to go. And then I ended up becoming a trainer because I loved it. And yeah, essentially, I want you to be kind to yourselves on that one. And if you can't afford it, use all the resources. And if you need like pointing in directions, I'm always happy to point you in directions. I do also have a very low cost course coming out for reactive dogs. It's more than a course because it's a group as well. It's a very social thing. So if you do want to join in, come join in, DM me and I will send you all the information that you need to know. I kept this one pretty short. Thanks very much for joining me, and I will see you on the next one. If you have anything you want to talk about, let me know. I'd love to know what you want to talk about. Thanks very much. Bye.